Right, let's get started. This is the 3 League Season 5, Division 2 final. We have Noob Squad versus Anvil here, represented by by Haru as their captain, and well, doesn't say the captain's name here, but one of them is handling the draft. It's a map draft for this best of 5, and of course there's a civ draft as well, based on the maps selected. So they first get a pick. First pick for Noob Squad would be Team Islands, as Anvil, follow up by picking Socotra, and then follow some bans so they can be rid of some maps they don't want to play. So here's Hideout for Noob Squad, out of the question. Nomad for Anvil, and we are back to the picking again, where we see Arabia for Anvil. Most played map of all of AOE2 types, I think. And 4 lakes for Noob Squad. And finally banning down to the neutral starting map, which will be revealed in the end. So Mediterranean is out. Which was that? Arena, right? And then finally we're picking Land Nomad as the neutral starting map. So Anvil managed to get rid of one Nomad start map, but we'll have to play Land Nomad as the first one. Let's have a quick look at the civilizations here before we dive into the first game. Land Nomad, first game. Looks like Noob Squad going in to secure one of the best civs for that map. That's Mongols. There's lots of hunt all over Land Nomad. So certainly makes sense to pick Mongols here. There's the Lithuanians, good candidate as well. Might be needed or might work for other maps like 4 Lakes particularly, or even Team Islands actually. And then there's very versatile sim, we'd have to say, about the Lithuanians. Japanese strikes me as a 3 or 4 Lakes civilization as well. Maybe even Team Islands remains to be seen. But yeah, Land Nomad, Mongols comes to mind. Magyars, possibly. Do we have Berbers here? We have Berbers as well. So they have both Berbers and Mongols, which means that Mangudai play will be increasingly stronger than it could have been if the other team had Berbers to counter that. Right, so for Anvil we have Mayans, Bloomed Archers for Land Nomad perhaps, but also an obvious candidate for their home map, Arabia, of course, as the flag civilization. Mayans, Ethiopians, probably flag civilizations for Arabia. Khmer could be decent for Land Nomad. Persians, probably 4 Lakes. Hindustanis could be working on many of these maps. Malian and other good hybrid map civilizations. And also good for landing play on Team Islands, actually. Teutons, last pick for Haru's team. Maybe they down prioritize the Land Nomad game as well, and Turks as well. Maybe they're picking the Land Nomad sims last here, because Teutons, if you have a hard time finding food on Land Nomad, you still get away decently with the Teutons because of their 40% cheaper farms. Yeah, enough sim talk for now. I'm not guessing at civilizations to be used, so let's just hop into the first game on Land Nomad. Here we go. So, Nomad start means they start without a town center. They need to scout for a good spot, usually at a wood line, as we see flared over here, to find your starting position. Preferably you'll want some hunt close and some extra food sources. There's plenty of sheep on Land Nomad as well, so you'll always be able to find food, but you'll want to find other food sources, as you'll like to use your sheep as scouts. So locked in the sheep there, that's probably not intentional, but it's gonna release once the town center completes. Ooh, what a start we have here. Look at the town center's placements on the minimap here. It's gonna be crowded down south to the southeast. Robo, however, is set up decently to expand to the west here. Just a couple of... okay, it's not an easy wall off towards the opponents here, but I mean, yeah, plenty of space here for both Robo and Young Panda to benefit from, if they can deal with Street Pete and the Teal here, that is. So it's going to be a 1 versus 1 up to the north here with Young Panda versus Street Pete. If Street Pete recognizes Young Panda's position here, I don't think he's seen it yet, but if he sees it, he's going to know that, okay, I'm going to have to contest this position. He's cramped up towards the edge of the map here. So should be relatively easy to deny Young Panda expansion across the map here, and then sort of leaving Anvil's side in the 2 vs 2 down south. Hello, Robo and Chibo. Welcome. Actually, we'll have to look at the civilizations here for a bit as well. Street Beat with the Mayans, so actually going with Mayans for Land Nomad and not for Arabia, so they must have other plans for their home map. Whereas Young Panda has the Gudjaras already garrisoned some goats inside of the mill for a steady little food trickle here. Yeah, slow but steady. Also gets the berry bushes to start. Great for a land nomad start, especially if you're maybe a little bit short on food around the town center, as is the case for Young Panda right now. So team coordination could be a bit of an issue here because the distance is just so far between them. But again, if Young Panda is able to win the 1 vs 1 kind of situation versus Street Pete over here, then there's still space to move to the west and get a bit of a boom going. Let's have a look at Anvil's positioning here. As you can see, Zuma, General Zuma and Haru, they're sort of sandwiched in between Pete and Robo here, but that's also not working into Pete's favor because he's also near the edge here and risks getting pushed further away by General Zuma, depending on how the game develops here. Looking at the villager overview, looks like Street Pete is... I mean, he's got the mines, right, so he starts with 1 extra villager. That certainly boosts the start a bit. He hasn't even researched Loom, so he's been able to... What should we say? Circumvent that. Actually, you don't start with a scout on land nomad. So obviously, Mayans is great for land nomad. Mayans on land nomad. You still, once you complete your town center, you get your villager number 4, as Mayans always start with an extra villager. But since you don't start with an Eagle Scout, or a scout at all, on land nomad, you're actually not pop capped once you get your town center app, so that gives Mayans a free villager to work with for these maps. Mayans resources always also last longer, so that's always an advantage to be considered. So General Zuma has found a house from Pete, probably suspects that Pete's base is over here somewhere. He's playing as the Berbers, got some faster moving villagers, means you can scout the map more quickly with your villagers as well. And cheaper cavalry in the castle and Imperial Ages, 15 and 20% respectively. So that's certainly something to keep in mind. Okay, so he's gonna go long distance hunt over there while bringing the boy yet. Heavy focus on food here. Could be a scout's opening from Pete just to get some more vision of the map. And yeah. Claim some overall control over the map here. Whereas Robo... Probably the latest one to complete DC here, looking at the overall villager count. He's found the boars, he's milling some deer over here and found another boar as well, so should have a decent food start here. Could have, in fact, have enough food here for a fast castle approach with the Mongols, which is not a bad idea by any means. 2 mills already, also suggesting that. Yeah, it's gonna bring the boar all the way home. Has Loom in, obviously. That could also be the reason for the villager difference between players here. That some of them have Loom and some of them don't. So that brings in a board here. Let's have a look at the players who's got them. Maybe they all do at this point. Because of the long distance luring of boards. Yeah, Berber's not really needed. So their ability to move faster, So I think Street Pete, even though he hasn't scouted Pete's Young Panda's starting DC here, I think he suspects something. He has an outpost here just to reveal if any opposing build tree comes this way as well, but the way he places the houses here already forms kind of a wall, making it harder for Young Panda to make any early aggression here. Looks like Young Panda is going for... It's not clicked feudal yet. It's with 2 on gold, so that kind of looks like an archer's approach to me. Fast archers could certainly work well on Nomad starts. Speaking of the feudal ages, we have 2 players going up at 23 villagers here. Street Pete with a head start because of that extra Mayans villager. And Pete with the Berbers. Already on both gold and stone here, so it's not going to be that of those scouts after all. It's going to be a... Or is it? It doesn't really have the food for a straight fast castle either, so I'm not sure what the plan is here. Maybe the stone is for towers and the archers to delay the Hindustanis of General Zuma here. I have so many questions, and speaking of fast castle General Zuma with 3 farms here is also, yeah, 12 on food. Is that going to be enough? 3 on gold as well. Blacksmith market for the Mayans. Another board brought in. And yeah, look at the resource bar here. Shouldn't be any issues for Street Pete to go straight for the castle age here. Young Panda only halfway to the feudal age yet, so going to be lagging behind Street Pete here, but also going for the fast castle age approach. Okay, so most of them are, maybe because of the general distance. Already Blacksmith stable for Robo. Might make some scouts on the way up just to get more of an idea of the map, but obviously wants to open cavalry in the castle age here. It's not on stone yet, so straight mango day is usually not a good idea because it takes time to get all of the appropriate upgrades, and they're even more deadly in large mass and when they get to elite in the Imperial Age, so it's good needs to start with some kind of cavalry play to get those useful upgrades you need as well, like husbandry and bloodlines. Last age for Robo, about halfway there. Pete also. Okay, so I misread Pete thoroughly. He's on the way straight for the castle age as well. 2 players fast castling for Doom Squad, all of Anvil fast castling as well. Players walling off the top side here, but that means that Young Panda gets significantly less area to play with, right? He's still got golds and stones inside of here, so he might be fine. But typically I never like these kinds of positioning all that much, because should you get heavily pressured by the other team, you have no escape, and you risk, worst case, getting defeated because of your position when you're in the corners, like these 2 players are, or near the edge of the map. Whoa, Street Pete goes straight for the cast drop here, so he's known all along, I guess, that Panda had to be over here. He's seeing the houses now. That's a great castle spot, honestly. It's going to go right on Young Panda's TC, while Young Panda just now drops the stable. This is peak Nomad gameplay right here. Another castle drop from Pete as well down south. Not sure if General Zuma... General Zuma sees it because of the house foundation over here, I guess. He's planning to drop a castle as well, but he's going to have his starting TC compromised here by Pete's castle drop, who's going straight for the camel archers by the looks of it. top side, straight for the Bloomed Archers. For 3-peat, it's essentially like playing Cavalry Archers for the Mines. Fast foot archer that runs about and lets you move around quickly and raid resources. Again, Young Panda getting punished for a cramped up base up top here. Excuse me. Stove on. That. So sorry about missing a rather crucial moment over here, so we'll go back a little bit. So you see Haru attempting a Korean's castle over here as well. Robo has gone for the Step Lancer approach here, so going to... This is just painful. This is just painful to watch as Haru gets the Korean's castle denied at 99.15%, and of course Pete and Rob will stay close with the Cavalry Archers and the Step Lancers now to make sure that no villager can get close to this castle foundation. That's 650 stone lost for Haru, since this castle will effectively never complete. Great aggression from both teams so far, to be honest, because the Mayans up north as well is working well for 3-peat. The Young Panda has made some, or tried to make some of these speedy Shribamsha riders to try and deal with the Blue Archers. I suppose they kind of match in speed, but it's just not quite enough. You need more of a mass still. Shribamsha riders work because they can dodge projectiles. General Zuma able to get a castle up here close to where Haru wants to complete his, means that finally Haru's castle will complete as well, and we'll see war wagons entering the field perhaps. I like the way Anvil are setting up the south here now. They need to push Pete away somehow with this forward castle here, but they've got some space to work with. Again, very close to the edge of the map, which gives Noob Squad a great opportunity to play in the middle here. But you can see that Street Pete is doing the same thing as well. They're both expanding and playing in the middle for the additional resources. Villagers of Young Panda can no longer garrison inside of this town center as it is too damaged, so that means that Young Panda is going to lose precious numbers. He's down to 50 villagers, facing some serious early game, mid-game land nomad aggression here from the Bloomed Archers. They managed to move away a bit, but that's not really far enough away for 3-peat not to be a threat if they are able to scout this relocation that is. Managed to collect most of the goats before 3-peat could take them out as well, so that's going to give a food boost. There we go. Noob Squad realized by now it's time to try and punish 3-peat, who's been doing great work at incapacitating Young Panda, their teammate, the Noob Squad's teammate up north. Step Lancers and Cavalry Archers out to raid as one Step Lancer goes down for free there. Robo realizes War Wagons now up for Haru to try and get some raids in, but it's already 4 TCs for Robo, so Dupe squad, once they get those town centers really working here, Pete has 3 of them as well, then they'll be looking at a significant economic lead as Young Palace still at only 17 villagers. And will definitely be stuck on that 1 center for a while yet. Slinging in Season 5, not allowed until Imperial Age, except for replacing 1 center if need be. So let's speculate that Young Panda did not have any... we have a restore here. Let's just speculate that if Young Panda did not have enough stone and wood for a new town center, you'd still, as a teammate, be allowed to sling him 275 wood, 100 stone to build a new TC. That's the extent of slinging you can do. Until you reach the Imperial Age. When you're in the Imperial Age, you're free to sling. We have a restore, so let's pick up where we left off. At this land nomad game. Step Lancers moving north to raid, most likely. I mean, Robo has seen some expansion happening over here. He's only got the +1, so the Step Lancers, let's see the speed compared to the Plumed Archers. They should be significantly faster. They're still vulnerable to a group of 12 Plumed Archers like this. The Step Lancers, they have 1 range, and they have a decent melee attack, but they are still weak to ranged units, at least until you can get the proper defensive upgrades in. Dead even on economy here still between Noob Squad and Anvil, which means that Street Pete and his teammates have been doing some... yeah. Street Pete and Zuma got some good economy going there behind the... Sure, let's see how the Steppies deal with the Plumed Archers here. If they get us around, they're fine, because the Plumed Archers can't really escape and hit, because the Step Lancers have 1 range as well, but that's obviously not the fight you want to take in equal numbers. The Plumed Archers will just hit and run and overwhelm your numbers. See, Street Pete has found the relocation of Young Panda as well, so that gives Anvil an opportunity to keep denying the combat of the Gujaras here, which means that camels won't be nearly as powerful as they could be either. I mean, yes, Berbers and Mongols get heavy camel as well, but Gujaras are arguably the best ones of these 3 civilizations. I feel like Peru has abandoned the War Wagons idea, just made a few to get some raids in, and now focusing on an economic approach instead. Yeah, he wants the archery range. Could be a switch into crossbow arbalist we're seeing here. Say Ambulance are dealing well with pressure. They are they obviously got Street Pete incapacitated both the opposing side's players, but they've faced some aggression at their home area down south there as well. So the biggest issue is that they'll struggle to expand unless Street Pete can reclaim the middle somehow here. Going for a castle to take out lots of robust farming economy. If he's able to place it even closer, if he wants to be that ambitious, that would be an even better castle. But with Bodkin, you'll range most of the farms here anyway, and the Plumed Archers with ballistics in will easily pick off villagers in this kind of mass. They have 26 in mass now, and still keeping that one up north here as well. Yes. Looks like Zuma wants to... Oh, there's another crash. Okay. Third time's a charm, I guess. Don't trust the statistics in Cap Rage, as when you pull a restore, it just starts showing stats from where you pick up. So Here we go. Back in the game. Right on the restore, Street Pete drops his castle with how many characters? 10, 12. Not 10 leaders, good calling with houses as well. Step Lancers try to dive in and deny it, but since Street Pete's walling with houses, these Step Lancers can't actually reach you. You know, if you try to break all this with houses, these Step Lancers would actually punch through with the 1 extra range, but in this case, we will go to... That castle will complete for Street Pete. That's going to be the second castle, doubling the capacity of producing more Bloom Doctors. Step Lancers, honestly, getting decent value against the Blooms as well. You can see now only 9 Bloom Doctors left. Yes, the Step Lancers go down, but they are also overall cheaper, especially in terms of gold, than the Bloom Doctors. Even in military here, and builders slightly behind the economy as Young Panda is getting back into it for Noob Squad as well now at 44 villagers, only rebooting currently. I thought he was going to cast a drop app here to set back Young Panda even further, but trading out of Bloom Pass was the only priority there, so I wouldn't die after the castle. Ah, I see. Yeah, it makes sense when he gets more production capabilities that we want to give numbers down. And of course, we'll relocating, placing more town centers further away. He's had these for a while, so it's still got economy running, but this economy is kind of useless now with the caster in place and the Blue Doctors running out. Overall though, higher builder count than Street Pete. Wondering how we're going to deal with the largest mass here, if it's going to be Shrivansha or Elite Shrivanshas from Young Panda or Burgers Imperial Age Cavalry Fan. It's Maggot to keep up with builds as well. They move quickly and they have a comparable effect. But recent reality hasn't really been prioritizing stone, rather prioritizing economy. As Haru claims the map further, or tries to creep up from the south with 3 instant towers here. They instantly upgrade into guard towers and keeps as you progress through the ages. So that's also a means of controlling the map with spending less stone than you would by dropping castles. You can tell it's a stressful game when the villager gather point from the new town centers are set like this. That's lots of idle villagers for General Suba, who now places that forward castle I thought it was going to place a while ago. Once again, setting back Young Panda a bit, who's stonewalling to the sides to claim the little area he's got, but at this point he barely has any escape. I guess he's going to try and send some villagers over to Pete's side to spread out the economy a little more, but he's not having his most fun game for his own areas. He's the punching bag of Street Pete, essentially. He's been harassed by Anvil ever since the beginning, so they clearly want to get yours out of the game here. Step Lancers trying to trade against Blooms again. We're going to need more of those for that to be justifiable fight. 19 to 12. Stables coming up. Robo only lacking the food for that Imperial kick as well. If we missed that Pete has made it to the Imperial Age. Let's got trebuchets out and a sizable chunk of cavalry here to relatively easily deal with the defensive castle of Haru. Looks like Haru is going into... It has to be elite skirmishers at this point, right? Because it's not the ability yet can't make armalests against camp blockers. Lots of range is going up here, placing market as well to tweak the resources a little bit, maybe to make the production more fluent. Tough position for Anvil to be in here now with one player on the opposing team in Imperial Age. Yes, we have Imperial Ages on the way from both Street Pete and General Zuma as well. But with this kind of pressure from Pete alone, Pete could single-handedly take out 2 players here because they'll front afterwards here in Junla. It's on this side, so you can't easily escape to the west for Haru either. You'll have to fend this off somehow, and Haru currently doesn't really have any military. Good for a loot spawn here, I have to say. Military situation who's really got the military. It's just Sweet Pete currently producing the military, right? So even if the numbers look similar, that's all plumed archers over here. Don't understand how Zuma and Haru can survive this if the Pete keeps pressuring, but they can't completely forget about the mines either. Ada takes advantage of the fact that the Sweet Pete is focused somewhere else, so it's sending the forward elephants to actually take down all of the castles. Let's move a bit further away here. Zuma's got a good position in the north, so he's got less to lose over here, but still worried for Haru here, looking at, okay, he's actually going for the crossbows and it's on the way to, well, on the way to the Imperial Age, so it's going to go for the arbalests against the cavalry archers. Of course, you can still mix in these skirmishes with that mass for some extra bonus damage output against the cavalry archers. Committing villagers here to take down the turrets might actually be able to take out one. I think the cavalry archers got this. Trebuchets, large, now elite cavalry archer mass from Pete over here, trying to make sure that the Mayans can no longer dominate the darkness. The castle at north has already lost 3 feet. It's about to lose another one because even though he's in the Imperial Age now, he doesn't really have the means to match the trebuchet numbers of Pete. Don't think that castle can complete. If Pete sees this castle being attempted, should be able to deny that with the cavalry archer mass. 34 elite cavalry archers over here. Will he see the foundation? He sees it. Yeah, and then Street Pete abandons the idea of the defensive castle here. So the points don't look nearly as strong anymore. Loot squad deceivingly lower in military numbers here, as Haru is got a decent trouble crossbows to become armalests here, but will it be enough? Young Panda is still not really in a position to contribute well in this game. It's 4 cannons only. Yes, the economy is back on track, and it's on the way to the Imperial Age, but the damage done in the meantime by the squad could be too much. We have a top cap Burbers here with the trebuchets have huge masses of elite cavalry archers pushing through the archers, and now coming in here to try and deal with the cavalry archers group. Now Robo comes from the other side with the elite step lancers. Higher attack, higher defense overall, and being the Mongols, they also have extra hit points. 174 hit points, so more hit points than a knight, for example. Hindustanis heavy camels maybe soon to become imperial camels here. You can deal with camel archers, but it's the hit and run on the camel archers that makes it awkward for even the camels to engage here. Down to raids in on Palace economy over here, so Zuma needs some work to keep the Jawas out of the game. Yes, that's the village PC, so that's going to be just fine. On the skill Koreans, they get all the defense upgrades immediately as well, which is useful when against established large masses like this. 56 Arbalest and counting for Haru. Interesting development here on the map now. And Sword still got middle, although Street Heat is losing the core unit, the full archer, by losing the castles over here. But we also see castles popping up. Ambas for Robo over here is got 5 soon to have 5 castles, which means that we'll see Mangodite, large mass, totally. Mangodite can be used to snipe opposing siege, for example, so you could dive in here with the Mangodite of Robo to make quick work of these trebuchets. Not to mention that the Mongols in the Imperial Age get access to the unique technology drill, which has the siege moving faster. Who needs Mangodite to take out siege anyway when you have elite set lancers? Definitely like the late game civilizations of Noob Squad better, and mainly because of the mines that don't really have any good trash options when they get denied of gold or the gold runs out. Of course, yes, you do have the Hindustanis Hussars, but Mongols have the strongest Hussars in the game, and Berbers and Gujaras have them as well. You can spam Hussars endlessly on this map alone and just continuously obstruct the opposing only that way, if need be. Just overall better mobility for Mongols, Gujaras, Berbers over Koreans, Mayans, Hindustanis as well. Panda with the camels, heavy camels as well. You can have comparable upgrades. Yeah, they have the same upgrades. Told it was a smooth game for me, says Young Panda. Yeah. You're still alive. I'm amazed by that, to be honest. I would have been tilted to resign long ago, but yeah. Resistance pays off, I guess. As Noob Squad has a much healthier population overall, they have nearly 100 more villagers. And establishing a significant village lead now as well, now that Young Panda has quite a chunk of heavy cannons on the field. I think they're going to survive the Imperial camels behind them, unfortunately, but maybe actually be able to take out this castle before the Gulams can take them out. Gulams and camels. Big fight on the hill on the right hand side here. He can't really comfortably engage here, even fixing some Janitors here, which I kind of like the mobility of it. Okay, I say he can't engage, but takes out the Arbalest here. That looked like a lot more Arbalest than I thought it would. Thought it was. 2 hours idle PC timing coming soon. Well, Oh, I thought we had more TCs actually, 5 TCs. Well, who needs TC production when you have 124 villagers? Repeat, without up to the north now, trying to get away from the worst aggression. But Anvil, they are falling behind economically and in terms of military numbers here. Panda almost at, well, more than 50 military as well here now. Huge chunk of camels, and General Zuma doesn't even have any camels anymore to contest that. I think it's safe to say that Noob Squad has a better grasp of the map in total now. Yes, they need to deal with maybe some more of the defensive fortifications of General Zuma here, but Heat with the forward castle here should be able to get some fair chase out once he loses some population. And with General Zuma's castles up here. If that castle stays up for this. Looks like it's going to be Noob Squad getting the neutral map here. GG, well played. Well fought by Anvil as well. No question about that. Statistics are going to be a bit misleading with the restores and all here, but we'll have a look through them anyway. Hey, Young Panda even getting the Siege Elephant. What's it called? Yeah, Siege Elephant later on there. That's probably how they were able to take out Zuma's castle before dying. Obviously not representative for the full game, these stats, but it paints a picture as of the development of the late game here as Pete had more than 300 kills and less than 200 losses. Means we'll be going to Anvil's home map. But let's mark the used civs first. That will be the Mayans, Hindustanis, Koreans going down to the mix of Mongols, Berbers, and Uriaras. So what? Keep right back. And Nomad, that's for Noob Squad. Guess we just go like that. Home map type. So the first pick of Anvil was Socotra. Are we going to see Socotra here? Interesting. What are we going to see for Socotra then? Saracens probably? Aztecs possibly? Noob Squad. They random polls, but that will actually be a good one for Socotra as well. And Magyars. I kind of like Magyars for Socotra as well. Incas, cheaper towers. Let's just find game 2 and see what they bring us next. Indeed, it is Socotra. And Teutons, Magyars, Aztecs. Maybe we'll see a bit more infantry focus for this rather close game. Here we go. Socotra coming up. Street Beat even picking the gray here for less visibility on the minimap with the gray villagers. Also, control laming the opponent's elephant is basically meta, at least if you can find it. So let's have a look at the elephant locations here. Pockets should be relatively safe. First priority also, Kotra, is getting your elephant in before your opponent can steal it. Oh, young pandas. Set up nicely to be lamed by his teammate here. It's not gonna happen. But, yeah. Looks like the elephant spawns are generally decent for most of the players here. Not going to struggle with any early laming issues. So look at the civilizations then. Haru with the Aztecs start with plus 50 gold, which means you could easily pull off a drush without having to collect gold at all. Dark Age Rush with a couple of militia could be a good way to deny resources of your opponent. As Haru starts pushing in some Bob Pete's hunt from over here. I wonder if Pete is going to try and stop that. No, not really. It's also quite common to see players sending one villager forward to shoot the opponent's hunt, so they have to mill it, so they can't push it in like Haru is doing. It's effectively stealing the opponent's hunt this way now, especially since Pete can't really engage against an Eagle Scout in the Dark Age. It's simply stronger. Yeah, that elephant spawned far away, didn't it? But regardless of that, Young Panda is able to bring it in. So Aztecs with an extra goal, also a more fluent straight archers opening if that's your cup of tea. Man-at-Arms Towers comes to mind as well, as you don't need to collect any extra gold for the Man-at-Arms with the Aztecs, because of the extra starting gold. General Zuma with the Tudens in the pocket could be playing scouts here, could also try to just have the flanks buy him time, and then he'll go and get away with a cheeky straight-ish fast cast late approach and have the power spike of some early Class Lage Knights, but that's generally not going to be allowed on Socotra. And to the left side we have Street Pete with the Goths. He's going for a long distance hunt here, which is fine with the Goths because the villagers carry more meat anyway. A hunt lasts longer as well, so that's why Street Pete sends out 4 villagers to make sure to collect everything and not have them go 2 turns. But yeah, they collect more. They still collect more hunts, do they? Or did it get changed to a longer lasting hunt? I actually don't remember. But anyway, hunt good for the Goths. Yields more food. Arms and towers could be good for Goths as well. Instant loom allows you to more comfortably move out to lane as well, as you be able to get loom instantly at any point in game. Whereas your opponent like Young Panda here might not have it. Sent one builder forward. Young Panda doesn't really see the berries getting walled in, but by pushing in. Oh, actually, it's not going to be able to push it in here. The ostrich are dying on their hill over here for Young Panda. Okay, so Young Panda is going to struggle for early food, but being at ours, it's getting at least getting 50% extra food off herdables. So less of a concern to lose the early food like that. Robo being a good teammate here and pushing in the ostrich for Young Panda as well, as Young Panda is busy trying to keep Street Pete away. Manages to click Feud Lage though. Speaking of Feud Lage, we have an 18 population Feud Lage here for Haru. Dropping the barrels just now, 3 on gold. That should be the straight archers then for the Aztecs. And also on a really good lane for the Tutors. So scouts and archers. possibly going to focus on Pete on the right-hand side here with the hunts. As the young panda has been significantly set back by the early laning anyway. Street Pete is even stealing the remaining hunt over here. Has to be said though that with this kind of laning approach from the gods, that is inevitably going to delay your approach to the next stage. 46 seconds of idle TC time for Street Pete, and going up at the 22 population here. Obviously not going to have the food and gold for a straight Battle Age by any means. Double ranges for the Tatons. You technically don't really need food for Archer's production. So maybe young Panda could just mass armies here and play to the benefit for his team this way. Dot's not even up yet. It's also a lot harder to get to a castle and Huskarls on Socotra than on many other maps, so the race units players won't really need to worry about that for a while yet. Robo with the Magyar Scouts here has an advantage over the Teutons as the Magyars get the melee attack upgrades instantly. So until Zuma can research forging, Robo will always have the advantage in eagle bats. Speaking of mass though, Heat is slightly behind in the Archer's production here, so there are more Archers overall for Team Anvil here to get out of the scouts. Looking for a point of entry, was to the light gold in the back here. Leaving Street Pete fighting young Panda again. It's on the left hand side here, as the players are using on the right hand side. This game was so tight by me, repeatedly. Looking forward to seeing that and Street Pete. Preemptive defensive town on the gold, as Street Pete by now knows that there's scouts and archers at the other side that could come to his side of the base at any point. Big fight on the middle on the hill, good advantage for Haru. So some decent trades here. There's Zuma, no upgrades to scouts yet, but might have had more scouts overall. Thought that was a good fight with the hill and all, but Robo, I guess with Magyars +1 attack, gets better trades against the opposing armies after all. Thinking a surprisingly bad fight there for Andy. They have to pull back towards the bases, and now Luke Squad are in the leading seat again. Even being joined by young Atlas Archers. Yeah, I like that. 3 players joining forces to try and get the most out of the aggression over here. But also a great quick wall by Haru that defensive tower is going to complete, and it means that the armies will have to look for another point of entry. Street Pete sending some archers over, going to be potentially intercepted by Robo here. Let's see if Robo will commit. No. You see the team walls forming for Noob Squad as well here. They're really securing their home bases here, especially if they're able to go over that hill and complete team walls as well. It's going to be very hard for the cavalry of the Anvil to get any raids in, unless there are any holes, as could happen obviously, but don't think so. There's no effects. It's not a great fight for young Panda actually. It does have that extra heal advantage with the Tatars, but needs to pull away now. Robo doesn't want to engage as there are. He doesn't want to leave Pete's forces alone with UNT over here. That's only a couple of archers for young Panda, so no big deal honestly to lose some of them at this point, given the aggression that Anvil has had so far. KD definitely on the positive side here, at least for Pete. 10 to 2. We see a second stable added by Elzuma. Magyar scouts are also cheaper. A lot less, so doubling up on the upgrades here, don't get a lot less ahead of the Teutons, I can only assume. And oh, the stable gets a knight as well. Great. Pick off on the. Let's try to get the stable attacks. We have not big head in the middle here with. Section 2 versus 3 here, but who's going to get the better trades here? Archer Mass larger for Noob Squad. Is it? Definitely larger army numbers overall for Noob Squad here. Pete now heading towards the castle age with the Huns. Effect cheaper, Huns Captain Archers if need be. You will see the necessarily the reason they are from small map like Spotra. The base is also still open for Anvil, so with that in mind, the Captain Archers could exploit that. What a healthy mass of archers to upgrade is all 20 archers without Pete is halfway there with the cast age. Only very upgraded cast age, as Haru is about to take to the Aztecs as well. Might benefit from an Eagle switch. There's a lot of builders involved for Haru, so that should be his long-term thinking. Over here, not a little group of archers from your Gade. Denied the secondary goal of Sweet here. No ballistics in Fuel Age, unfortunately, so the Vindy lives to see another few hours of work there for Sweet Pete. I think Street Pete could be decently happy with that trade. We don't have as too small forces here just to make sure that Street Pete access at least that second goal over there. Sets things back maybe a little bit, but he's got 31 gold and there's still gold to be taken over here. Crossbow's now in for Pete on the right side, still joined by Robo. With the Magyar Scouts and Castle Age only 30 seconds away for Robo as well here. Castle Age for Haru as well, yes, with 16 archers to become crossbows. That's still fewer than the Huns, where we also have the cavalry archers being added by Pete as mentioned earlier on. We have Pete and Sweet Pete, but yeah. That doesn't cause any confusion. Huns Cavalry Archer is also 20% cheaper. So it's something to make them, even though they're like in the last order upgrade. Third range being added by here. Keep us at the rangers for a while. No ballistics yet for any player. So, which in that regard, double safety protection for whereas Zuma is still in the Fuel Age. Means that we won't be seeing any Teuton fights anytime soon. Might even have to take to armies for a while. Still, he has got 3 stables left to go into cast age. He is costly, doesn't really have the food to keep these stables moving, and you need a lot of scouts to hold off these kinds of armies anyway, I guess. pressure by the squad here. They're barely... It was one builder this game, which is quite the accomplishment on Sokoto, I have to say. It tends to be so chaotic these games. 7 knights and counting for Magyars of Vogo and Bean. Magyars, you get those like upgrades instantly, so once you get the +2 defense, you'll have fully upgraded knights. And obviously both gas stage upgrades as gas stage is 50 seconds away. This is snowballing more and more out of control for Anvil, and on a small map, tiny sized map like Socotra, speaking, it's just going to be so hard to keep up. We have Young Panda entering the gas stage as well with Catards. Hey, with Cavalry Archers as well. You have the ranges. Finally, gas stage with 2 boosts. Let's have a look at the resources in general too. By struggling hard from gold for cabinet production. Is even lending her ruse on gold for whatever her ruse plan might be here. Didn't really drop any more barracks, but I guess yes, Eagles aren't really going to play with this much Magyar's cavalry on the play anyway, on the field anyway. Pattern now the cast means countering is in instantly as well. Increases the firing rate in crossbows. Singing defensive tower of Street Pete, and Young Panda seems to get a bit of revenge for the previous land on that game here, where he got harassed early on by the castle drop of Street Pete. So twice the military from Luke's now, they have about 20 villager speed as well, but that hardly matters when you have this kind of military domination. Teutons cavalry, okay, the numbers increasing, it's 9 knights now for Teutons, actually almost keeping up with Robo here in terms of knights numbers. However, there are some light cavalry in the mix as well from Robos. The overall cavalry count is well ahead for the Magyars still. We keep trying for the defensive towers, but the cavalry melee units should be able to deal with those towers nice. We still feud lates for the Goths there, so what do the Goths feud lates do against this kind of massive range and cavalry units? Not much they can do, right? We're only missing maybe some kind of siege here to take out this town center. Maybe the cavalry numbers will be enough as well to be full upgrades. We have 15, 20 knights who could survive by fully garrison the town center, and he'll take it out as well. Defensive caster securing his semi-forward goal near the hill here, but that's a huge commitment to get the defensive castle up, even if it's a good defensive castle to reclaim some security at home. The fact that you invest 650 stone into a castle rather than into land military is a concern. We do have Tatars, cavalry archers on the field as well. A bunch of them just camping underneath the tower, getting their payback on Street Heat, and there is the GG. GG well played to Anvil on the first home map of Anvil. Means we'll be moving on to Anvil's second home map, which is Arabia, which could play similarly to Sokotra. Worst case, would be looking at 3-0 here, but they might have some tricks up their sleeves and saving the best civilizations for Arabia yet. Remains to be seen, of course. 102 units lost for loss. Not a great game for Street Beat by the looks of it. How many? What was the villagers? Only one villager lost this game in total for Noob Squad, and was that even? Imagine if that was an elephant or a Gaia or something. And it would be a game without losing a single villager to opposing aggression. Very nice and early up times by Anvil here, but they didn't seem to be able to get enough out of it. Excessive lane from the Goths. Obviously set back Young Panda quite a bit, still managing to get that sub 10 minutes village timing, so hungry for revenge there, Young Panda. We'll head off into the draft again. That would be Hans, Tappers, and Magyars laying in the W there. Whereas we had Aztecs, Tunes, and Goths losing that one. The Arabia down for, no, sorry, Arabia. So Contra down for Abuse Team 1 will be likely be, or will be going to Arabia next. I don't see Ethiopians Saracens flank then. Faster firing archers, bonus damage against buildings, perhaps. But then what's your pocket gonna be? It's gonna be even any Paladin seems left here except for isn't it Khmer pocket maybe? Khmer Saracens, Ethiopians? Now Chinese Ethiopians. Chinese Ethiopians and then the next Saracens. I guess you could make an argument for a Persian's pocket on Arabia as well. Noob Squad. We're really going to save the Arabians for Team Islands. It's going to be Frank's pocket for Arabia for sure. Frank's pocket. Portuguese Incas flanks, perhaps. Portuguese could also be well, it has to be Team Islands, so Franks, Incas. Curious about the picks for Arabia here now. Noob Spot also up 2-0, so they can afford to take some chances here. Let's just hop into game 3 and see what they bring us. Right, here we are. Third game, Division 2 playoff final, as is not entirely readable there. That is the second home map of Anvil S, and they have something to prove here. No, that's the second home map. And they picked Vietnamese on the flank. Although Saracens buildings bonus for the archers here, with extra hit points on the archery range units. Always going to come in handy for the Vietnamese. That's the pocket here. So gives you the idea that they want to win this late Castle Age, early Imperial Age, because if it goes to a later let's say mid Imperial Age, late game trade kind of game, then the Franks Paladins should just demolish here. So Ambulance on a timer here for sure with the Khmer pocket. I guess you'd have the elite battle element for Khmer though, but it is expensive and they are still much slower than Paladins. See about that. Finally, Chinese flank, one of the best Arabia flanks. Still as usual, of course. Because of their cheaper technologies as you advance through the ages, the fact that you start with 3 extra villagers as well, although you start with 0 food and only 50 wood, as 3 villagers you get and don't have to use your town center creating. Only 32 seconds of idle this time here, respectable Chinese opening for Haru for sure. As for the other side, we have the Portuguese flank for Young Panda here, so not saving them for the naval heavy home maps after all. Noob squad here. So Young Panda going to play the straight archers probably with the Portuguese here. Portuguese get a gold discount on any gold costing unit. I believe it's 20%, so it makes it cheaper to mass archers. Pocket, we have Robo as the Franks. Obviously going to open scouts here as we see all these open land maps, scouts and archers. Franks with the advantage of 20% more hit points on the scouts, starting out with 54 hit points versus 45 in the feudal age, but falling short as bloodlines get researched. Cast the final of the 4th division. I think today, Bofors, after this set. Looks like we have time for that. So. Would be today. I don't know when, because I don't know how long this set will last. It's the general idea. Finally, Pete on the other side with the Incas here. Incas team bonus, granting a free llama underneath the DC for each team member as well. So, something to keep in mind for the early game here, that they actually get a total as teammate 300 food boost to begin with, having Incas on the team. So, Inca's team bonus certainly has been buffed since their team bonus was farms build 50% faster or whatever it was. So yeah, more viable team bonus. Sweet Pete, being the Vietnamese, he already knows the location of the town centers of the opponents, so most likely should be able to avoid getting hit by the enemy town center fire. Obviously the teammates with the shared cartography see it as well. Haru managing to snipe a couple of sheep there of Young Panda, just sending them to the side, not trying to send them all the way home. Doesn't look like Young Panda is struggling for food though. He's going up to the feudal age here at 20 population. Idle times at an absolute minimum for the most of them here, except for the Chinese, but they start with 3 extra villagers, so they're fine with 32 seconds of idle easy time like this. Just now going to go, no barracks yet for Haru, so he's on the timer here to get that barracks down if he wants to target those ranges. I think he's forgotten it, actually. Hasn't. Okay, that's 2 villagers building that. That's going to be... Yeah, that's not going to complete by feudal age, is it? Especially not if the Red Scout medal's in here, but it's a matter of a few seconds. It doesn't really matter that much, but it's like 5-6 seconds lost. 1 archer difference. Top side we have Pete here with the Eagle Scout, denying both ranges from Sweet Pete. Again, those few seconds don't really matter that much, but it's still plenty annoying to have to deal with that. But with the feudal age in, the Eagle Scout is no longer able to fight off the Scout. Pete actually loses that one. Can't really run away either because the Scout is much faster. So I think he just has to cut his losses there and move away. Good scouting here from all of them to recognize where the buildings are going up. Delay them from completing, so all in all, slight lead in production time for the archers. Probably not, maybe not. It's the second range was a bit on the slow side here. relatively similar approach here between Haru and Young Panda, except Haru with the Chinese and the cheaper technologies could be earlier to fletching, and other appropriate upgrades here. Probably has the incorporated as well double bit axe, which Young Panda is missing for the time being. Good usage of the scout every 3 feet, blocking Pete's villager, now joined by Zuma's scout from pocket position here. Good opening. That's the Incas here for Anvil, denying that horrible on the hill goal here, which means the archers can camp on the hill, getting some bonus damage as well. Robo here with scouts, as you can see from the hit points, the Frank scouts still kind of have an advantage, but it's marginal with one more scout for Zuma here. Probably went up at a slightly lower population than faster, not needing any prerequisite building to pick up. Good cleanup there for Noob Sword after all, but Sweet Pit did manage to get 2 villager kills in, which could leave Anvil with the villagers lead here now. 4 villagers in the lead, that's also a little bit thanks to the Chinese bonus. Peru, however, losing that edge of the Chinese now, running idle a little bit of home base here. Let's see if we can manage a... Ooh, not sure about that one. Panda doesn't guard the hill though. Moves back to... Oh, he's going on the hill over here. Never mind. Definitely got the numbers here. He's cheaper for the... for these capacities for Ostrich. And what will do. Introducing Ultra Bass yet again here. Anvil even fights they've been taking. They're build 2 trades here. They're very even at this point. Slightly some reinforcements there. Always good. Zuma getting the defense now, but it's already in for Robo. Still, obviously, no bloodlets, so Frank's scouts definitely going to get better trades here. No free hits for General Zuma, yes, but hit points still matching for the Franks, and now getting forging as well. Robo staying ahead of things in terms of upgrades here, so once that forging kicks in, it's 10 seconds away. It's going to be in the position to trade better against Zuma's numbers again. There's 4 archers here from Sweet Pete, trying to focus the weak scouts here, but with the defense upgraded, that's not going to be as easy with such a small group of archers. Zuma, I would say, given the feudal age commitment of both pockets here, Zuma really needs bloodlines in as well. Either that or he needs to get to the cast age faster. He's with Anvil's aggression here. They're forcing Noob's Squad at home for the time being, so that should leave Zuma in a decent position to get an early cast age over the Franks here, but with heavy feudal age commitment like this from Robo, it could also backfire to try for a faster cast age and earlier nights out. Keep the armies alive there. Market coming up to Zuma is with 19 farms, that's compared to the 25 of Robo, and neither of them have clicked up yet. Robo hasn't really committed that hard to gold, it's just started going to gold, so their castle ages should be comparable here. Speaking of castle age, we have just 30 seconds away from the castle age now. It's only 6 archers to benefit from the crossbow upgrade, but it's going to have a large head start regardless to that next age. As Robo finally snipes the forward army of Zuba over here. And is left with more scouts total than the green player Zuba, who is committed to double stable scout to remass some units to keep up the aggression here to keep Noob Squad on the back foot. Young Panda heading up with Portuguese as well, has a much healthier action mass, has been staying on the defensive side of home here, just using the home field advantage close to the reinforcements on this side, close to the hills. Hills actually working in Young Panda's favor here, arguably, but he obviously needs to pull the armies to safety as the Chinese are in the castle age already. Scouts and archers make it in here. Street Pete 30 seconds away from the castle age. Can he commit with the 14 archers he has forward now? Castle age is further away for Pete, so this could be good news for Street Pete and General Zuma here. Robo now fighting against Bloodline Scouts from the curse, so that should be an easy win for General Zuma, even in lower numbers here. Castle Age in, of course. Pete now commits to taking out as many of the archers as possible. Maybe this was not worth the risk. 3 Pete, 4 eco kills only. He's being fought back by Pete's Incas villagers with the Castle Age kicking in here. They should... Well, there aren't any blacksmith upgrades, but if there had been any defense or attack upgrades in for melee for the Incas here, then Pete would actually have some benefit from that as well. That's great commitment by Noob Squad there to take out that precious archer mass of the Street Pete, losing all of the forward on them. A little bit too risky to move in with that group of archers. He couldn't have known that Pete was that close to the cast stage. And with that in mind, of course, you're setting Pete back as well with the lack of archers getting Eiffel in the middle of that. I think it was worth it to diminish the Vietnamese archer mass to become crossbows as well. Good teamwork here. Haru joining in on the left side flank rather than trying to hit the Portuguese at home base. Will he find the soon to be overchop here? Oh, not. Okay. Got some time to go here. That doesn't really have any safe wood lines here. Maybe it needs to move over here actually for continued wood access. Doesn't seem to be able to afford a town center yet. Might have sold stone to go to the cast stage actually. In the military here, but Anvil comfortable economically. They managed to get quite a few eco kills in throughout this game on their second home map. The armies here, 3 players from both sides training forces quite similar in size and power. It was trying for a forward team versus there, but is obviously going to get that denied by the massive amount of armies now fighting on the hill here. Such an even fight. It's actually a fight neither team would want to take it because they're going to play so evenly. And they're very even in the overall army mass here. The extra crossbows running in here might give you some better trades, but yeah, once again, both teams sending reinforcements over here. It's really hard to tell who's going to get the better trades here. However, Robo earlier to the castle here got the +2 in for the knights, as does General Zuma, but he's lacking in the production. He's got 6 knights in the queue, but Robo's got more knights out overall as well. Banding the economy as well. Looks like both flanks of Loop Sword are going to commit to 1 TC for longer. They'll need to do proper damage to benefit from that. But if they're able to, they should have a limited ability. There are 4 ranges for the Portuguese. They can do that with their gold discount on the armies. They will need to deal with a Chinese forward seed push here though. One that's really want to do on both sides as well with the Vietnamese, but they will go back seeing the large army forces on the hill, so it would gain sense to stop that from happening from Doom Squad over there. I don't know if they're getting 3 or 4 crossbows down just like that. However, Robo is here, is getting a surround with the knights. He's gonna get someone in front there, crossbows from behind. I think Harun is able to outrun this mass, and since Young Panda's armies are a little bit far away here, can't comfortably engage against the crossbow mass over here. Big fight on the top side here now, once again. Double mass and crossbow, so Young Panda and Heat working together. Young Panda with the 4 ranges on steel, consistently producing as well. Perks of having 1000 economy lets you hold more army temporarily, but also leaves you more vulnerable to enemy aggression. Because once you lose these armies, you're going to struggle economy-wise to be happy with the production, as opposed to your opponent who is on 3 town centers with the Chinese here, with cheaper technologies overall, saving resources because of that, and might be able to hit the EPRLH further. Only one player going to the EPRLH though, that is Street Hit up to the left hand flank with the Vietnamese. Is he on stone? Maybe he wants a forward castle. He's got 2 villagers on stone. Looks like they have some team mic issues here on Loop Squad team. That's not what they need right now. Falling. Are they falling behind though? They're keeping up with the military and really keeping up with the economy as well. Which is peculiar to me with the progression of this game. Must be some villager production or idle time making a difference here in the 2 teams. When the abilities recognize, they need even more military here to withstand the extended 1 easy play from both flanks of Doom Squad. Triple armies here now, trying to get some hits in on where 4,000 just for Zuma. It's a 3-1 villages as well, they're getting a good boom going here. They're not coordinating as well as they would have, I guess. Maybe they're intentionally staying together. Concentrates making it hard to kill and damage from this angle though, but if they're able to find a way around, there's lots of exposed economy here on the General Zuba's side, which in return will significantly set back the cavalry production on the curve. Civilization here, 4,000 for both pockets, so they should be somewhat tied in economy. Robo just slightly more. He's actually not got both on it, so better evacuate for her. So better. Military upgrades for Zuma's cavalry here. are aiming for speed. Each could be getting some serious damage on Robo's side here. Robo has no choice but to try and fight it with the Knights at home base here. But of course, they were producing as well. But Street Heat is going to get some significant value here. As KD is definitely on the high side. But not getting economy trades here. I don't know what matters more. I guess army size matters more at this point in the game. So in that case, trading with this number rather for Robo's and keeping up the night version. Yeah. Worth it. Already thinking long term about trade as well with Doom Squad. Stonewalling the segments between the hills here. They don't want to get walls up somewhat like this to secure their corners for late game trade and continued gold access as the game moves on. Finally, an additional concept for the Vietnamese here in Street Heat as well. Economic situation just 10-15 kilometers ahead for Ambulance, but in terms of technology, they're all closing the Imperial Age as well, reaching the Imperial Age well ahead of Doom Squad. That's the full team. The next stage. Securing the hill with castle over here, making a siege push a lot more awkward for Haru. Haru, however, only seconds away from the Imperial Age here now, and he's got a sizable chunk of crossbows to become marvelous here for the Chinese, so that's it. Haru really wants to protect his woodland, it seems. I think it's to make use of a slight hill. Why there though? Not on the hill, but on the hill behind you, woodline. It's just one of those castles you think, I really need a castle. Just place it. I don't think more of it. Huge raids for General Zuma on Pete's side. You know, Pete now 69 builders and losing more. And still not really able to get that going. Great raids. Massive. All hail king of the losers. For Anvil, first win of this best of 5. Games still open as we enter the first of Noob Squad's 2 home maps. That's 3 players in Imperial Age against only 1 of Noob Squad. Exactly how Anvil wanted to play it with the Corner Pocket. They need to win it early, so as to not have to rely on elite battle elephants in the late game to keep up with Frank's Paladins. So, really well played for that one. Obviously strong Arabia flank civilization with the Chinese Vietnamese combo as well. Economies overall. Same as the previous Sokotra game for Noob Squad, barely lost any villagers here and kept that aggression nice enough, seem to be solid Arabia players, these guys. Robo didn't lose any villagers with that Arbalest massive sandwich base. It was also good. Good defense against raids committing his own armies, but it does come at a cost for their counter aggression, losing maybe 15-20 knights at that point in the Castle Age. That's the first loss for Noob Squad. That would be the Yes, Portuguese losing that one. Portuguese now gone for Team Islands after 4 days. Whereas we have the Chinese, Vietnamese, and Kember winning Arabia for Anvil. 4 legs or Team Islands, that's the question. don't have to play the picked order, obviously, but Team Islands was picked first, so let's just assume that's going to be the next tier. Then we'll probably see Sicilians landing with Obedience and Malay naval flags, perhaps. Italians, kind of a given. Malians, Byzantines, perhaps. Then Malians could pull off the landing. Or Saracens, which could play both landing on the naval, so how about Italians, Saracens, Byzantines, if it should happen to be Team Islands? If it's 4 legs, I'd rather see something like Persians, Byzantines, Turks, perhaps. Ethiopians. Ethiopians not going to play Team Islands, so Ethiopians for 4 legs, I guess. Lithuanians probably as well. Lithuanians, Sicilians, Japanese. Let's see which map they bring us next. Waiting for all the islands, indeed it is. Quite the civilizations I suspected. Bengalis, of course, yeah. Be a good civilization from maps involving water. Right, here we go. General Zuma in the pocket position for Advil as the Byzantines. Byzantines have faster fire galleys, and they also have they have access to fast fire ships, which is useful in the Imperial Age, especially with the Byzantines, as your Imperial Age is a cheaper upgrade than for many other civilizations. It's like one of their civilization bonuses. On the right side flank, we have Street Pete with the Malians here. Malians long-term on naval access. Not horrible, they have options, obviously, but they don't have Bracer, which you'll want for the late game, fighting water with your galleons. So Malians possibly going to play a landing role here, we'll see. Finally, we have Haru with the Italians on the left-hand side here. Italians have cheaper fishing ships, which gives them a nice fish naval boom on maps involving any kind of water. They also have easier time of getting to any of the technologies needed for naval aggression. For example, the dock and university technologies cost 33% less. Also, advancing to the next stage cost 15% less. Now let's have a look at noob squads. Civilizations you don't have on the left hand side here with Sicilians. The Sicilians first transport ship is at a 50% discount. Is it? What is that called? No. Ships 5% plus 5 line of sight and was 50% less. So, sort of gives the idea that Sicilians will try to play a landing here. They have access to Bracer, they have decent naval options, so they could play naval aggression as well. More commonly seen for landing plays on Team Island. So, in the pocket, again, Robo with the Japanese here. Japanese with the dock here, good choice as the Japanese fishing ships were faster working rate, and also have twice the points, so they're much harder to kill. Good setup for a... I'm to assume a fast castle here with the back dock doesn't necessarily have to mean that. Could also mass galleys from the back, and just be very patient with massing them move around a large mass as the game moves on. But with this kind of fish, abundance of fish in the back, kind of looks like fast castle would be a plausible play for the Japanese. Finally, we have Pete with the Bengalis here. Bengalis also. Potential landing civilization, of course, with their tanky monks. regenerate 15 hit points per minute, which is one of their naval bonuses, making them a... Are they S tier naval civilization by now? Maybe, maybe not. But having regenerating ships, obviously, huge advantage. You pull back from fights and regain hit points out of nowhere. So, certainly going to be to your advantage. Apple first to kick out here, all of them at 21 and 22 population. Noob Squad following just behind. Said fast castle for Robo, and maybe the faster fisher ships will be enough in that regard. You need to see 4 fisher ships. 5 in food, the rest of wood. Nothing in gold. I was going to gold. No? Spotted the landing already, is that it? They're about to spot it. Just repeat landing with the Malians. No! No! Yes! Oh, come on. Come on. Ah, there we go. It's over it. Good spot there. Team Islands. Actually, large map. Oh, that's so unfortunate for Street Pete there to have a Tiger spotting the landing. Is still going to be able to complete the barracks. Gets slightly delayed there. Looks like a scout opening for the Malians, doesn't it? It doesn't really have any gold commitment just yet. And Noob Squad, they've seen just right through it already, reacting with the stable of his own. Barracks going up, Spearman going straight for where the stable is being placed. Here goes the Spearman as well. And Street Pete quick wall in this landing. Robo manages to snipe one builder, going to get the other one as well, and that stable is never going to be completed. Orleans going to struggle big time to get their anything out of their landing edition. Just making a few spearmen to harass economies somehow, or maybe just scouts. I don't know. Keeping 2 villagers over here to wall in the balance just to keep that from being an alliance as well. But just speaking, great defense already from this wall, whereas Young Panda has landed on the opposing side, forcing General Zuma into some defensive scouts here with the Byzantines, which are going to struggle against Sicilians once they get to Bloodlands, because the Byzantines don't have access to that. Donjons, familiar play for the Sicilians as well. Of course, that's a bit of a random donjon, but I guess it's just going to protect the landing location here. Spearman being added as well. On the enemy side here for Noob Squad. So all Pete and Robo need to do on this side, defend the landing of Anvil, and they'll establish a decent lead from their side. I think good for here for General Zuma. Is trading very well against Young Panda scouts overall. Going to clean up all of them. Donjon about to complete though, and once you get some sergeants out, it's not even enough to take out the landing villagers, because the sergeants from the donjon, they could also construct new donjons. The donjon's recent change was that you are able to produce spearmen out of them as well, not just sergeants, but spearmen as well. Which is an interesting change to the Sicilians' dynamic. Yeah, trying to pound down the donjon here, just really do too much. There we go, making the spearmen. On the other side, Street Pit actually managed to land with a couple more villagers. That's already a commitment, committing more villagers to the other side, right? He has to make more of the landing aggression here. Is also committed to just one fire galley over here, keeping Pete a little bit busy at home to keep the aggression away, but I don't think that's a huge threat at this point. Noob Squad, 10 villagers ahead. Spearmen on islands, exactly, yeah. Conservative villager saves the The builder does not save the... Yeah, saves the other one as well. Got what they're gonna go back home, but... Projects. Mix for Silence is here. Young Panda going for the forward goals. Silence could create new dungeons, so don't necessarily have to commit builders to that. Mixing the sergeants makes it tougher for the opposing spearmen to take any fights here as well. 60 HP, so they're stronger than Meldoms. In terms of hit points at least. Finally, Street Pete gets to create scouts on the opposing island, and now going for a range over here as well. That's not been spotted by Noob Squad just yet, so he moved over the remaining landing builder. Which means that small walls won't keep the aggression out anymore. Certainly an annoyance to be dealt with. Young Panda's landing's not... I mean, it's definitely committing, or forcing General Zero to commit here. It's a lot of interest chasing these targets. But... I got this with squads, arguably. Defending better, just say it. More losses, have they? Yeah, they had an economy blades. Could be mainly just the fishing ships here. So, haven't found a range yet, so that could become a concern for Robo and Peter. He actually walled out most of the aggression, so he's about to wall to the edge of the map here. He's focusing on the naval side of things here now. Robo at back of his base here. What do you have to fight against the Italian galleys? But he's matching the numbers, but 3 docks to only... It's 4 for Haru actually for the Italians. So Haru could be looking at a higher production than robots. About to reach the gas stage as well, which means the war galley will be in well ahead of Robo here. Robo struggling for food, maybe having been hit by raided by the galleys on this side. And obviously forced to defend on land as well. You are committing builders and even went into man at arms here against the sergeants. Like that, you already had a barracks. Happy for on gold for whatever unit. That could justify that man at arms upgrade as well. The landing builder is still down for Young Panda. Now the Donjo is down as well, which means we will have to re-land to produce more Donjos. Topside, galleys in. Oh, going to get fantastic trades against Robo's Japanese galleys here. That's all of Robo's armies from bottom just like that. Still doesn't really have any food to get going here. Idle time's high both for the Malians and for the Japanese here, but let's work on the other side as well. And all these slightly higher numbers than the Italians here. Easily raidable woodland here as well if he spots that. Yeah, he needs 1 galley behind to harass this woodland. I love that. We're both getting 2 raids on water, but Harry has a better progression to the next stage. It's going to get intercepted on the right hand side here. Is also got careening in, so he will withstand more. Oops, this should be a good fight for Pete actually. Unless Haru is able to bring in a lot more to the rescue here. Landing aggression on point for Sweet Pete though. He's not giving Robo any rest at home base, which means certainly won't be able to fight both land and water. Panda managing to get some scouts out before the building gets walled in completely over here. Now a re-landing, 5 villagers moving over. Castle Age is in, that should mean a Sicilian's castle. Nope, doesn't have enough stone for castle. See what it does with that. It's all the way around to the Italian side here. He's actually trying to get a pincer maneuver done on the top side here. 27 to 29, the war galleys numbers are incredibly close. And in these kind of close numbers, the fact that Pete has careening in and Haru doesn't, well, it's not going to make a difference with 26 ships to 4, obviously, but assuming they would be able to fight in equal mass, Pete would be getting the better trades here because of that upgrade. So he's outmassed, so he's going to need some incredible micro to win this fight. He is keeping Haru busy though, allowing Robo to get back on a little bit of fishing and eventually get to that gas stage. A little bit of farming economy on land here as well. Sweet Pete now even adding some knights with the Malians and has the small size of crossbows to raid on land. However, unfortunately, Pete is going to lose most of the war guys over here. It's remassing at home base. It's so deceiving these numbers, 23 to 26, but Pete's armies are so spread out. Not sure what Haru is trying to do here. Should easily win this one, of course. He's got twice the military numbers. Duma building his third town center now. At least once he gets those buildings out of the way. Put allow Anvil to behind all this, new squad has had a really impressive economy, I have to say. And the Bengalis, 3,000 this year, 3,000 all the way for Young Panda with the Sicilians as well. Going to lose some interest in the process. But will lose quite a few villagers in the process. He actually gets to manage to get DC out. Forward top center for Young Panda. Getting longer, who stables after all this land. Oh, it's like the one blind spot on Anvil's map. Not even the llama could spot that. So that could certainly backfire once Young Panda has enough stone to get the castle up, and he does have enough stone now. Sicilians, builders build faster, now finally sees it. It's only a matter of time now before General Zuma sees the enemy presence on his land here, but stopping Sicilian's castle drop is near impossible, so Young Panda is going to be plenty annoying to deal with here unless he sees the need of a defensive castle at home base. Goes for a donjon over there, still 800 stone in the bank, so has to be a castle drop. You can deny 3 gold with 1 castle here with the Sicilians, that's ridiculous. 1 castle here and it's GG for the 3 golds. Fortunately for Young Panda, that's not the commitment for the time being. Still having making great fights on the water with the Italians over here. Landing aggression seems to be at a halt for 3P. That's still making life awkward for Robo, to be honest. Ninja. Hiding away. And obviously, the Sicilians that castle completes easily. The nice goal of Street Beat. However, Street Beat has gold in here as well. Beat carrying squad like a boss. Those war galley losses are concerned though, but it's allowing Pete to extend the economy on that, so who am I to argue with that? Cleaning up the landing now as well with some armored elephants. Saving one of them at 2 HP, that's ridiculous. It's twice the war galleys for Haru now. I think Abil would still be confident with their naval situation here. Italians also a discount to the next stage, which will possibly get 2 galleons and bracer. I was going to say ahead of the swamp, that's not going to be the case here. Pete is gone for the Imperial Age now. There's 4,000 on that as well, which means it will get 8 galleons instantly, reaching the Imperial Age. Equal upgrades for these ships overall, but much larger numbers for Haru. This is not the point of the game where Pete will want to lose galleys, as it's only 2 minutes into the Imperial Age, where that galleon upgrade is going to have a large impact considering Haru hasn't kicked that yet. I have to say it is doing a great job at keeping up on water here though, with since Haru has consistently been ahead in numbers. And that Imperial Age changes will change everything of course. Hello there. This is the Belgium. Good afternoon to you. Oh, afternoon. Good noon. It's not afternoon yet. Just past 12. Good day, I would say. Now Haru is fighting dangerous terrain here, because Haru just taking Imperial Age. Speed is 30 seconds away, got 2 minutes lead to the Imperial Age. It still takes some time to get the Galleon and the other technology to fight for the ships, but Pete, plenty of docks producing here now. 6 docks pumping out those 4 galleys. And for the first time in a long time, Pete is actually not naval numbers. Well, Zuma has no presence on water for the time being, which means that we won't be seeing any resistance fast fire ships here with the Imperial Age in. Game sound, the pair piece loud with your voice. It's probably my microphone. New microphone. In my ears, the game sound is relatively low. So that's concerning. Crank it up a little bit if need be. See if that makes a difference. Tell me if it's too loud. I'm not shouting like Memp, so it shouldn't be a big issue. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll keep it there then. So experimenting with the sound equipment. It's actually a downgrading of a microphone, but it's closer. More blocks popping up for Pete here is really showing the power of the Bengalis. Water here is at risk of losing a galleon to a monk conversion, but doesn't matter with the numbers he currently has. Why does he both have war galleys and galleons? That doesn't make sense. They were queued probably before the race. Akkal-AOE, the glasses. Yeah, but I don't bother getting on my contacts on. Of course I'm gonna have glasses. Glasses. Did you order the boat ticket to get to Norway for Gorgansland yet, Mats? Come on. Get going. Maybe we need to crowdfund your trip to Borgar's apartment land. Yeah, if you're broke, you wouldn't be able to afford a Norwegian beer anyway. Oh, nice little group of Pete's galleons here. Oh, sniping the reinforcements. That's huge losses for Haru, actually. Haru not getting the reinforcements in. And look at the production here. 12 docks producing the galleons for Pete. Pete really showed the power of the Bengalis here. Look at those reinforcements being sniped, but that's obviously great placement of the units from Pete over there. Sicilian still alive with it. Yeah, this is hilarious. Sicilian's villagers nearly taking down a Byzantine's castle here. Ay. Not the arrows added from General Zuma. That should be the end of the Byzantine villagers' trebuchets here as well, but it's an annoyance that Anvil don't want to be dealing with right now, as the Bengalis are reclaiming the naval domination. We'll need some cannon galleons here to deal with this castle, but they are already out. Only one for the time being. Shipwright coming in from Robo-Boro as well, so Robo wants to establish, or wants to help win the water back here. Now fast fire ship is in. That's really bad news for Haru's Italian stocks here. I have to say I didn't see this position coming in for Noob Squad with the numbers lead that Haru had with Borgalis for so long on the left hand side, but it just shows the power of team coordination and strategic placement of units. Massive naval domination now for Pete with the Bengalis. Managed to keep his land economy safe throughout most of the game as well, which obviously helps for the massive units. Fast fire ships for Street Pete here as well. One of the things that Malians can actually do on naval maps. They obviously shouldn't be making galleons because they don't have freighter, but they're just not in the numbers just yet, and the castle will be going down to cannon galleon fire as well. Noob Squad showing why they would pick Team Islands as a whole map here. Markets going up on the edges of the map for trade for the late game as well. They've just barely started. Let's have a look at the trade situation here. No trade for Anvil, and they can't either because the borders or edges of the map really aren't secured here. Fast fire ships massing in the back here, but oh, you have to be really patient with the massing here. 13 fast fire ships against 58 galleons. That's an easy equation for to calculate that the galleons would easily win that one. Another landing from the Sicilians as well. Now going to the Knights on landing. Maybe going to mix in some light cab with that as well. And once again, Young Panda going to be plenty annoying on land, while his two teammates just dominate water and deny any landing opportunity for Anvil. I suppose Noob Squad could trade on water as well if they'd like to, but it's even better to trade on land if you have naval control like this, because then you just can't possibly stop the land trade from happening. Yeah, knocks going down on both sides for Anvil here. Even this one from the Byzantines, not that General Zuma would be making any particular naval armies just yet. It's going into cataphracts because the Sicilians player has been playing sergeants and villagers, but now we have light cap and knights instead. Very, very comfortable military and economic lead for Noob Squad now. They're the only team trading as well, which means that the gold, once it runs out for Anvil, they're at a serious disadvantage here, not being able to trade on their side. Lots and lots of Italian stocks here protected by a castle. Something you see on these water maps a lot. You have to place a castle to secure your docks to be able to produce like this if you're falling behind the water. So Anvil still passing those 11 docks producing fast fire ships for Malians as well. They're trying to keep up with the numbers of Noob's squad now, but if the defensive castles on the shorelines go down, they're going to have such a hard time to keep up here. More, yeah, even more docks from the Malians down south as well. It seems that they, yeah, at least the Malians not struggling for resources here, but they're just massively outnumbered in military, and the set in the end ends with a 3-1 for Noob Squad. GG, well played. Noob Squad, the Division 2 winners of the playoff. They've signed up for Season 6 as well. I think I saw some Anvil teams considering it as well, so maybe we'll see a rematch if they end up in the same division. Remains to be seen. 3v3 League open for signups for Season 6 these days. Browse through the stats here. Pete, I think it's safe to say that Pete carried this game for a long while for his team here, allowing his teammates to get back into it. But honorable mention to Young Panda as well for the insistence of the Sicilians landing and always forcing Anvil to react at home base. Yes, Anvil landed as well, but the first landing of the Malians was spotted nice and early. So that set them back more than it gained them any offensive advantage. Still, relatively similar uptimes here, and a little bit later, except for Robo to the Castle Age, and then the Imperial Age timings as well, but not able to mass enough units in the end. Anvil. Jeez. Now, I look at the... Yeah, let's cross out the civilizations as well. Here we go, here we go. Italians, Valiants, and Byzantines losing that one. Noob Squad taking the islands. Yes, it will be 4th division now. Just a quick break, and then 4th division. And let's update the challenge as well. Spoiler alert! It's not so much to be seen through casting, so I think we're fine. There we go. Season 5 winners. Noob Squad.